YouTube land, what's up? It's your girl Makar from Cougar's Closet. How y'all feeling tonight? Is it tonight? No, it's 5:46 this evening. So listen, tonight I am going to be talking about internet gurus and teachers, right? Okay, so as I'm on the internet, right, of course, Facebook a lot of times, or YouTube, or, TikTok, or, all of these different internet entities, there are a lot of gurus and teachers on the internet that's teaching information out of the Bible, information, of what they've read and this and that and that and this. Well, a lot of the information is true. For example, let's take the Bible for example. So when I get on there, there's a lot of gurus talking about, one shouldn't practice this, one shouldn't study this, one shouldn't do this. Yoga is opening up the chakras for demons to come out and rah rah this and rah rah that. Like I said, a lot of the stuff is true. But I want you to pay attention to this stuff, right? Because a lot of this stuff that these people, these teachers, and these gurus are speaking from, it is a place of self-mastery, okay? Which means they telling you the truth, and some of them are. They telling you the truth about what the Bible says is a sin, or they telling you the truth about X, Y, and Z, but they speaking from a self-mastery level, right? They telling part of the story, but they ain't telling all of the story. That's what you have to be careful about when you listening to these internet gurus and teachers. So they get to a point where they're sitting high on their throne and they're looking down and they're telling you not to do these things, when in fact those are the same things they had to do to reach a level of mastery. If you ain't gonna tell the whole story, get off of here. Because at this point, you not benefiting nobody. They tell you all of these mastery stories and what you don't need to study and what you don't need to practice, what's a sin and what's this and what's that. But they had to do these things to get where they at. And now since where they are sitting at and nobody could see the struggle or they didn't tell the whole story, they make people feel some type of way when they trying to find their way. A lot of these guru teachers come off very intimidating and just make you feel like you got to stop what you're doing because that ain't right. But they ain't telling this is how they came to pass. Let's use Blac Chyna for an example. She started out as a stripper, right? She needed to feed her family and her kids or whatever. And then, she came into a little money and success, and she was able to do these things to get her to another level to where she no longer needed the stripping, right? And then she creates an OnlyFans account. She's raking in all this big money, and she's this and she's that. But now there comes a time that she doesn't need these things, and she turns to the Lord because she doesn't need these things anymore. See, when you're going to tell a story, you have to tell the whole story about not only where you are sitting, but where you came from. A lot of these gurus, they tell you what's a sin, and they tell you what's wrong. But if you notice, they don't tell you how to maneuver. They don't tell you how to get there without having to do these things. That's why I want you to be careful about what you intake and how this could have an effect on you, because people ain't telling the whole story. When you look up, you just see a beautiful rose sitting there. You don't know the rose grew from concrete because they don't tell you that the rose came from concrete. They don't tell you that. So it's just like this, right? When a baby comes into the world, a baby comes into the world of sin. Everybody that's came into this world, into this portal, into this dimension of life, rode in on sin. After they came out the womb, basically they was dumped in dirt. Nothing to grab onto. Nobody to help. Only thing that they could rely on is self-intuition and experience. So after they was thrown in the dirt, right, with nothing around, nothing to grab onto, nobody to help, they got smart. The babies got smart, right? So they start grabbing the dirt around them, making clumps, making it hard, making it firm where they could stand. They might have digged a little farther and found a rock. Oh, I could put this rock right here and for a little bit of more security, and pat me some hard dirt on here, and I can stand on that. And as they start standing on that, now they see a bush that they can reach out for. Now they see a tree limb that they can reach out for. And now they start getting all these things together, and things start coming to them. But that's through experience and intuition and life lessons. A lot of these gurus go on here and try to make you feel like crap, or teach you what you doing is wrong if you do this and you do that and you do that and you do this, and it is a sin. But what is a sin without a testimony? People have to come from a sin because they was born into sin. The object is you come into sin, but you turn it around and you go out as an angel. Everybody has to have a story to tell, and I like to use this all the time, where Malcolm X wasn't originally Malcolm X. Martin Luther King wasn't originally Martin Luther King. Blac Chyna wasn't always, she started out Blac Chyna, but now she's Angela Lee, whatever her name is. People have to go through the transitions of life. Even a 60-year-old is still a baby. Some things they could be doing and sinning, they might not be aware of it, because all they had was their experience to walk through life. Later on, they start to figure some of these things out. What they've been doing is wrong. A lot of times people know what they doing is wrong, or what they studying is wrong, or whatever they into is wrong. But right now, wrong is the only thing that's all around. So we got to take wrong so we can turn wrong into right. So that's why I'm not too much of a fan of these teaching gurus, because they don't tell the whole truth. I know dope boys that became preachers. I've seen and witnessed and went to fellowship of ex-prostitutes and ex-convicts that are now evangelists, that are now preachers, that are now this and that are now that. But see, these gurus is leaving that part out. They make you feel like what you studying or trying to get into is so wrong. It's so demonic. It's so this, it's so that. But if you go back and you study them, well, look at what we have here. They had to take the same route you had to take. When you come into the world, you a dirty soul already in search of, looking for your Father to cleanse you and lift you up and turn you around and let you fly. That's what the deal is. So at this point, I am monitoring what I take in, what I listen to. Is this person okay? So they know that I'm not supposed to be doing this or that, but are they giving me the keys to the city to turn this around? A lot of times they ain't. So you have to find your own way. How do you become, a knowledgeable person if you don't have the experience? How do you become a kind person if you don't have the experience? Like I said, a lot of times, people can hear about things, but a lot of times something has to affect a person for a person to understand what you were talking about or what's going on. A lot of times people think they understand your pain, but they don't understand your pain until it happens to them or till they have to walk through it. It's a lot of controversy. I'm listening night and day, where people talking about the Bible and what God says. There's a group of people that say that God says thou shalt not judge because they don't have a heaven to put people in. But then there's a group of people that study in the same Bible and say that God wants you to judge people. Where is everybody getting all of this information from, all of these gurus that's studying out the same book? Sometimes I get confused. So, I'm not going to make this long. I'm getting ready to wrap it up. But I just want to say, when you are on here and you feel like, you doing something or, and every time you turn around, a guru is talking about this is a sin and this and that and that and this and that and this and that. Just understand that you have to cling on to something. Everybody has to cling on to something. You dirty and then you become clean. You ain't clean to go dirty. So when you on here listening to these people, take it with a grain of salt. Know that you have to study what you have to study. You have to do what you have to do. Whatever you have to do to get you to the next level, once you get there, then you can get rid of these things are no longer needed. That's just like when I go on here, right, and I'm listening to some of my psychic readers and I'm getting knowledge and I'm getting this and that about myself, right? They don't always say everything I agree with. They don't always say everything I resonate with because listen, you can only feed me so much. And you have to be feeding me good things. But I've been on channels getting my reading, and they tell you, you at a place or a business or a job that's stressing you out, and you need to walk on faith, and you need to let it go, and this and that. But the truth is, how do I just let it go? Just stop what I'm doing. Just go into work tomorrow and give my 2 weeks notice. Ain't got no other money coming in. You ain't paying me. You ain't cash apping me to keep my bills afloat. Nor are you telling me. These are the psychic readers that's speaking from self-mastery. It was a time you did go through it. It was a time you had to put up with whatever you had to put up with. You didn't put in your 2 weeks notice and just walk out, but you're telling me to put my 2 weeks notice in and walk out. These people are speaking from a level of self-mastery, and that's what they're not telling you. So now you got another income coming in. You got quadruple incomes coming in, and you don't have to worry about employee employing you anymore, because you've been through your struggle, you've been through your storm, you've been through your wrath of fire or whatever you've been through. So now you can get on here and cut your play button on and tell me to walk out of my job. You have to be careful about what you are consuming. I'm not saying that it's not true. A lot of times, a lot of this stuff is true, what they saying. But you have to have something to hold on to before you can let something go. It doesn't make sense here. So, the internet can be very, very, very tricky. Period, point blank. The internet can be very, very tricky. While a lot of times, they are telling the truth, but they ain't showing you or telling you how to get there. And the same routes that they condemning is the same routes they had to take to sit where they at right now. Let me calm down. Anywho, be careful about these internet gurus and these internet teachers. Just be careful about what you consume, how you consume, whatever. Some things, when you get to the top where you can sit in the chair of self-mastery, you can look down and say, thank God, thank you, I don't have to do that anymore. God, thank you that now I can show and teach somebody something now. I can show them the way how to get there. That's the type of guru and teacher you want to be. Cougar's Closet. Mwah.